What's going on, you guys? It's your Huggable Hipster here, and welcome back to the Casual Nerd. Today, I have here Danny Pena. Welcome so much to the Casual Nerd podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. And yeah, I've been watching your content on YouTube. It's pretty cool, and I'm glad that you're posting more. And I just started posting stuff on YouTube because it's been a while for me. I took a long break on that because I was focused on the podcast. But it's good to see that you're doing your thing. So keep it up.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I actually just recently started posting every single day in August of last year, so it's coming up on a year, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So,
really cool.
But it was really interesting to be able to get to know more of your content better. You came out with a children's book last year. You're doing so many awesome things. You've been in the gaming industry for over 20 years now. And I want to be able to cover your book a little bit because when I read the book, it was really interesting to see how similar our childhoods were. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I was a kid, the first game console I ever got was a GameCube and playing Resident Evil with my dad. And I was like, there's jobs in this field. Like you can actually do this like for a living and everything. So it was really cool to read that. And I'm curious, what was your inspiration behind it besides being in the gaming industry?
Yeah, it was a lot of things. Like my family, they know that I do a lot of speaking engagements. I go to like a lot of schools and I talked at conferences and stuff to share like my story so people could be inspired. Because when I started back in the days, like I didn't have no mentor. I don't know what I was doing. I just learned everything on my own. And now things are a lot better because back then there was no YouTube. There was no things that we have now. So my cousin came up to me because this is during the time that I went back to Miami just to visit family, and plus my wife and I were working on buying a house and working on the wedding. And when I was visiting over there, my cousin, he hit me up because he's been working on children's books for a while now with his wife. He was like, Danny, I have a pretty cool idea. How about if we create a book about your story, because it's very inspiring. This was really cool for like the kids. And I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. Let's do it. So we started working on it late last year. Yeah, was it this year? No, actually sorry, my days are wrong. Late 2022. That's when we started working on it. And he will call me here and there, ask me a couple questions. And then he showed me the book, and I'm like, oh man, this is perfect. So I told them, let's release it on September 15th to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. This will be perfect to start from there. And yeah, the word just went out, and I was getting featured like in a bunch of media outlets, and I did that like all on my own, just spreading the word about the book. And the book been doing pretty good. Still to this day, people buying and sending me pictures with like their kids, reading it together with the family. So it's really cool to see that. Yeah, really, really cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have to admit, when I was reading it, I was, getting a bit choked up because, there's so many messages in the book. I won't spoil it for those of you who have yet to read it, but there's so many messages that hit home for me. But if you guys want to purchase the book, it'll be down in the description below so you guys can get it, enjoy it with your kids, enjoy it for yourself because it carries so many truisms within the book itself. So, the next thing I wanted to discuss with you, and it's something that I was seeing go crazy on Twitter over this past week. As we know, Xbox, the acquisition has been a heavy topic lately of where they finally closed, and I put that loosely in quotes because it feels like every other company in which way is trying to stop it. What is your view on the entire thing? Because, with you being so long in this industry, it almost feels like it's becoming a reality TV show at this point, where everything is getting turned on its head.
Yeah, it's funny. We talked about that on our recent podcast because we decided not to talk about it at all on the podcast because it's like I'm glad that this is good for like competition. It's good for us consumers, where we're gonna have now more games. If you're subscribed to Game Pass, it's easier for you to subscribe and play all these games. So that part I'm very, very happy. The part that's really annoying is seeing all these, I don't know, console war, fanboy battle online. Like, what is it? The benefits are they gonna get out of this by attacking each other? Because, back then when I was growing up, Yeah, we got to see that during like the early days of like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and it was actually a marketing team from both companies, actually in Sega, that started that console war fanboys back then, right? Because it was great. It was great for them to get people excited and free promotion for to promote like the console and everything. And they started that, but now it's getting to the point where people are actually now sending death threats and all this stuff, like all because of a plastic, a console. It
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense to me. And here's the thing too, like a lot of people are focusing more on going against other gamers online, and they have more time doing that than actually playing games. And this year has been the best year in gaming, in my opinion. Like I haven't
Yes.
seen this amount of good games since like maybe 2007, maybe, and before that, maybe like the late 90s, 97, 98 around there. That was like a good year in games too. But I feel like we should just enjoy it, man. Like I've been going to a lot of events, and yeah, I see people from different companies like Nintendo folks, Xbox and PlayStation, everybody hanging out, having drinks. We're there talking, and they laugh about it when I bring up about like stuff that we see online. They're like, man, it's just ridiculous. It's good for the industry. I think competition is good on any industry. Like for example, last week people were saying that Twitter, rest in peace, it's over, it's dead, right, because of threads. And I'm like, no, this is good. This is good for us, for creators. Let them battle it out. Like this will be good, because they're gonna start adding new features, new stuff that is gonna help us, to other ways to get new people, or other ways for us to like share our content online. And look now, they just announced Twitter, where now creators has an opportunity now to earn money based on just tweets. And I've been part of their, and so I'm so sorry that I completely changed the topic, but
No,
like
you're good.
I've been part of their video program since last year. Well, actually, since like late 2022. So I get actually paid for posting videos, because of the ads and stuff like that. And I've been making pretty good money from there too. So like I think competition is good for everything, man. Let companies
It
battle it
is.
out. We're gonna win. I can't wait to see what's next for Xbox and Activision. And actually, I can't wait to see what PlayStation is gonna do too now because of this move. So it's good.
It'll
Hmm.
be really interesting to see. I mean, like as someone who, plays primarily on PC but owns a PS5, Xbox, and Switch,
Hmm.
I feel as if this is going to be the best move for the consumer.
Hmm.
Because when you think about it, a lot of people actually make this mistake of where they're like, "Oh, anybody who owns games is a content creator." No,
No, not
no,
everybody.
because no,
Yeah.
because when we see the majority, it's consumers, it's people who have families and people who want to be able to have ease of access when they game.
Hmm.
So when we see this kind of boom in people thinking, oh, anybody can pick up a camera and do this kind of thing, no, I don't want to see those comments down below.
Nah, nah.
Because it's actually kind of funny because I was actually talking about this with our mutual friend Tony, and it was so
Hmm.
fascinating to me where like the term content creator gets thrown around a lot in the industry, and people think that, well, someone's going to get it for free anyway, and I see that all over the place. And it's like during the entire acquisition, so many people were throwing around so many terms that they were misusing and misunderstanding, I feel like.
Hmm.
So I feel as if there should be one video that just educates like people on the entire acquisition as a whole, which I think there is, but it's going to be interesting how people's tunes change when they realize that, oh, this is for the benefit of the consumer all along.
Yeah, and not only that too. The main reason why Xbox acquired Activision is not because of Call of Duty. People think it's because of that game. It's actually because of mobile. They need that mobile audience, especially if they want to, start promoting S Cloud and getting new people to get into the ecosystem. Having them that can't afford a console, but they do have an Android device or iOS device. They could play all those games that we could all play online. So it's easier for people to play Xbox games because of it. That's why I love the idea of Xbox acquiring studios. Like I always been saying this from the beginning. I love when Xbox is either in second or third place, because that makes the company even more hungry for the company to invest on buying more studios and everything like that. Once you're in first place, you get a little bit comfortable and not do anything because you think, everybody's just gonna buy your content. And that's it. But I love competition. That's why I love Nintendo. Nintendo had to make a lot of changes because they the company made a lot of mistakes when the Wii U came out. It was very complicated. People thought it was still the Wii, and people will buy a Wii U game thinking it will work on the Wii. Like, it was just complicated. But the Switch comes out and it completely changed the game. Like, on the go. Now we see Steam Deck. We see so many other companies now trying to do like on the go devices because Nintendo did that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I love competition. It's good for us, the consumers, overall.
It is, and I mean, in my humble opinion, I feel as if the Switch is what saved Nintendo personally.
Yep.
Because when we look at Nintendo and we look at kind of where they were heading in the long run before the Switch came out, it was kind of like, okay, it was dipping. They were still making money. Don't get me wrong, but it was going to one of those places of where they needed to reinvent themselves and do it very quickly.
Yeah, no, actually, yeah, big time, and I'm excited to see what's next for the company. Like, are we going to see a Switch 2, or are we going to see a completely different console? Because the thing that I'm afraid is I don't want people to get confused, like what happened with the Wii U, and I want to see like a brand new console that completely changed everything again. Not just copy and paste and just make it a little bit more powerful. I don't want to see that at all, from Nintendo. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, like, if anything, like with PS5 coming out with their portable PS5, I want them to have the first Silent Hill game on there. If they do that, then I'll be happy.
Oh, so you're excited? You're excited for the cloud device that they're planning to release? Yeah.
I am. I mean, I'm a big PS5 person. So when whenever PlayStation reinvents themselves in a way that is beneficial to the consumer, then I'm like, okay, I can get behind this a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. The only thing I wish I could, go far away with my device and play on the go. Like, I need to be connected online in order for me to play. That's the only thing. And I have the similar feelings too with like S Cloud, because sometimes I travel a lot and I want to play those games during my flight and I can't because I have to be connected. So the only device that works for me when I'm traveling is either a Steam Deck or a Nintendo Switch, because it's perfect for me. I could just download it and just play. I don't have to be connected online, so. But we'll see. Hey, I might be wrong. Maybe PlayStation would completely change everything. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna see who wins the portable battles soon.
Oh, it's gonna. Yeah, every year it changes. It's crazy. How many new devices have been coming out? It's crazy.
I can't even imagine. I mean, it's kind of interesting because I was just talking about this with my dad earlier, and he said, you're going to be 31 this year. Like, technology is going to be changing even more drastically in just 10 years from now. And it's going to be so weird to see the younger generation, what they grow up with, like, in the next 10 years.
Oh my God. Yeah, because I started playing video games during the Atari era. So it was like Atari 2600 was my first console. I was very young. My grandmother bought me that console with Pac-Man and Defenders. And I remember those days. I'm like, man, now I could play games at home. And I remember then getting the Nintendo, and I'm like, oh my God, it looks even better. And then the Super Nintendo, like every time there was like a new console, it was looking better and better. And yeah, man, that was wild. Really, really cool. Yeah.
Oh man, that was how I felt with the GameCube. I was like, these graphics look so good. You can hear like the crackling of the fire in Resident Evil. Like, it can't get better than this. And now we have VR.
Yeah. And yeah, like I think, I don't know if you remember this, but like the first time playing an online game, oh my God, that was like a game changer for me. I'm like, wait a minute. So you're trying to tell me I could play these games against other people around the world? Oh man, everybody's going to be online 24/7. And the first online game that I ever played was for the Sega Dreamcast. It was a game called
nice.
Choo Choo Rocket. It was like a puzzle game. And my God, that was like the best, because the Japanese players will create rooms saying Japan versus US, and then the US will do the same thing, and we'll all team up and just battle it out. That was like a lot of fun. But yeah, that was my first online game was on that. Sega Dreamcast.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I even remember like back in the day they had like the DisneyChannel.com, and that was my first experience as a kid of like online games, and it was so archaic, but it was so much fun back then. And I even remember like when autosave became
Mm-hmm.
a thing, and
Mm-hmm.
that was back in like the Wii generation for Resident Evil 4 when that came out, and I just saw autosaving. I'm like,
What
I don't
is
have to
this?
use a cartridge? What?
Yeah, yeah. I remember back then when I played actually let me rewind this. So after the Sega Dreamcast, they stopped selling the consoles and everything. I was like upset. I'm like, man, this console was so advanced. It was so good. PlayStation, adding, DVD in there completely messed up the business for Sega. Oh man. So then I remember being in New York. I remember that Xbox was in town promoting the new console, and I was like, I don't know, Xbox really? Because I was more excited about the GameCube. I was like, man, GameCube, Nintendo, no,
Yeah.
nobody's gonna mess with the company. So I remember going to the event, and I went there, by the way, with a tape recorder because I was recording interviews for my internet radio show in 2001. And I went there, and when I got to play the console, I was like, "Wait a minute, hold on a second. So I don't need a memory card. Everything's gonna get saved there automatically. This is genius. Like this is so cool. So wait a minute, it also gonna have DVD player, and oh my god, that was like a game changer, man. Experienced that for like the first time. And being at that event completely changed my mind about Xbox. Because I'm like, okay, I see, playing Halo for the first time and all these racing games, and I think Tony Hawk, they had it there too, playable. I was like, oh, okay, this is awesome, and I don't need no memory card. That was like thing that blew my mind. Like, I don't need that anymore. Perfect.
Yeah. That that
Yeah.
that was that I think that was such, no pun intended, a real game changer for the industry.
Oh yeah, definitely,
It
definitely, and
really
not only that,
was.
having that Ethernet port there where could play online, that was a game changer too. Because I remember getting the console, we couldn't play online yet because we had to wait at least for like a year because they were still working on Xbox Live. But the community figured out a way at that time where you download this application. I think it was called Game Spy, and you connect your console to your computer, and it would think that you created a LAN party locally, but that you're actually playing online. So we had our chat on the computer, to chat with other people, but then on the console, we'll go to like different rooms that was available for us to join and play online, and we were playing like with a bunch of people from everywhere, and it was a lot of fun. But there was no voice chat; it was all strictly just chat from that. Yeah, yeah, the community is awesome. Always coming up with some crazy
Jeez.
stuff like that.
You see,
Yeah.
and that actually is interesting because I played Halo for the first time recently on YouTube, and that was the very first game, Halo CE,
Hmm.
and it had the option of where you could switch back and forth between remastered graphics and
Yeah.
the original graphics. When I saw the original graphics, when I tell you my mind was blown at the comparison from what it was in 2001
Hmm.
to now.
Hmm.
It was absolutely insane to see how far we have come alone just in assets and textures and the way we formulate games.
Yeah, but even back then, like I know you mentioned Resident Evil on the GameCube, that was like I remember playing that game for the first time, and I'm like, oh my god, these graphics are like intense. Like this is really good. It looks so real. And I remember I'm gonna even go way before that, playing Mortal Kombat 1 on a Super Nintendo console, like just that. I said to myself at that time, I'm like, yo, it's not gonna get better than this. This is just like, this is intense. This looks real. It's real people on the screen. It's like, yeah. So
Yeah, we think that it's good, but then it just keeps like upping the game
it,
every single time.
every single time, yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, so you have been doing Gamertag Radio. You're a CEO, founder, host of that podcast show.
Hmm.
What has been your most memorable moment with doing that show? Because it's been going for 17 years, and I've been listening to so many different episodes. And I feel like for me personally, like my favorite one is the one you did recently for Alan Wake 2. Just
Oh,
to,
that one.
say
Oh my.
that.
Oh, that
Yeah.
because I love Hannah Wake. I love. By the way, I love horror games. That's like my thing. So, yeah, there was a lot of. It's so many moments, but I think the ones that really stood out to me from the beginning is I think one was I got invited to go to the headquarters at Xbox in Seattle at Redmond, and I remember sitting down with he used to be the president of like the head of Xbox during the time. He was like Phil Spencer at that time, Peter Moore. So the reason why I was so excited to meet Peter Moore because he was also the president of Sega America. So he was the one that him and his team at that time was the one that launched Sega Dreamcast. So I was like, oh, he's like legendary, you know. So I went over there for an event for a Lord of the Rings game that was coming out. That was EA and Xbox, and that was a great conversation. That was the one where I recorded our conversation with him, and he said something about Nintendo Wii because that was before the Wii came out. And I just posted the audio online, and that audio went viral. Like it was like everywhere, all over the news and everything. So that was one. Another one I just remember right now was so I heard a couple of my friends went to an event in LA. This is when I was in Miami. And this event was MTV and Xbox partnering together to reveal the Xbox 360. So the company, both companies, they recorded this like on a Thursday night, and it was going to come out like a week later. I found out that Thursday night. I recorded a podcast Friday afternoon. I posted that audio, and it was up for only an hour. And I got messages from the Xbox team like, Danny, can you take that off? But it was already too late. And there was a bunch of people sharing that audio. They downloaded it themselves and they put it on their own like website, and it just it got picked up by every media outlet you can think of. That was like intense. That was like the first time I got really nervous because I'm like, oh my god, am I in trouble? Like, but that helped us to get our name out there. And that was actually the first time Paris listened to the show was that episode because it was so big. This was like in early or mid 2005. Like I think it was like May or 2005, something like that. And one of the recent ones, again, there's so many, but there was another one where we did our 1000 episode, and actually I remember hitting up Paris. I asked him, Paris, look, 1000 episodes coming up. I don't know. I'm thinking about Phil, but it's going to be so hard because we had him back in 2014. So I don't know if it's going to work out. And Paris said, I think you should contact them. Like, go for it. And I contacted the team, and they were like, all right, we'll let you know. And it took months. I'm talking about like I hit them up like May, and by January, that's when everything got approved. Like it took a while. Yeah, it took a long time. And I didn't even know if it was going to happen or not. So, and then one day, Phil Spencer tweeted it like at 3:00 in the morning because him and his team, they were in Japan. This is a month or two before the pandemic. They had meetings over there, and I saw the tweet and like saying, "Oh, I'm gonna be on Gamer Tag Radio to celebrate a 1000 episode," and that was like amazing. And another one was interviewing Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Oh, okay.
That one wasn't very important to me because I've been trying to get him on for like 10 years, and Nintendo was always declining every single time. And because of the interview with Phil, it helped me to get Reggie on, and he actually announced that he was working on a book on that episode, and the conversation went really deep beyond gaming. We were talking about like him growing up in New York City, in the Bronx, and how was that, and how he got into the gaming business. And the interview went so well that he invited me to be on a keynote with him, a fireside chat for this event called GameSpeed that happens every year here in LA. And that's more like industry folks in there. But I was on stage with Reggie, just having another conversation about life and the industry, and it was really, really good. Like there's so many different, like so many wild stories that's not only from me but also from Peter, my other co-host, and Paris, that it's really hard to remember. But those are like my top highlights, I think, in my opinion, for me in my career. And also interviewing Keanu Reeves, I was like, wow, that was wild.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, about to, do a little bit of your breathtaking moment. That was, so iconic in a way, because whenever we saw him say that during the E3, I was like, nope, E3 is never going to be the same again. You guys could just, like, stop everything
Yeah,
right now.
just stop everything.
No,
Yeah. And
no.
it was wild because we were there too, in person, watching that press conference when it all
Awesome.
happened. Yeah, and we went, yo, that crowd went nuts when he came out. It was a very, very iconic moment for sure.
I bet that fan who was like, "You're breathtaking" is going to be a legend forever.
Oh yeah, that's legendary for sure. Very big time. Yeah, I think multiple. I think Xbox contacted him right after the event. Yeah. It was. Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but I think he was there for like the fan fest because Xbox always invite like the fans to their press conferences. For years, they've been doing that. Yeah.
Wow. That's, and speaking of games and speaking of just in general, moments that we treasure in the industry, when you think of a game or when you think of a specific moment from a game that's kind of like a comfort game or a comfort memory from you from a game, what would you go to?
Ooh, that's a great question because there was so many different ones from like the Nintendo, Super Nintendo era. But I think for me, because this is like where everything completely changed for me, was playing Fantasy Star Online for the first time, Sega Dreamcast. This is an online RPG. At that time, you connect your 56K modem to the console, just connected there, your phone line, and you could play online with other people around the world. And again, no voice chat. It was strictly just text chat. But it was like boss battles, find like rare items. Like it was fun, like getting like 4 people to play. That was like so iconic for me because that motivated me and inspired me to create a talk show for that game in February of 2001. Actually, January or February of 2001. That's when I started being a content creator during that time. And that was really cool, talking to the community about tips and tricks and our thoughts about like every time there was like a new quest that you download, we reviewed it and everything. And yeah, I mean, look,
Nice.
the quality at that time was very, very bad, but it helped me to master my craft, to become a better host and a better creator because of it. So sometimes I will go back and listen to like my old audio episodes just to hear the stuff that I did back then and then notice the difference. Like, oh man, every week I'm getting better and better and better. So I think that was like a memory that I will never forget. Was just that playing that for the first time.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think honestly, like just to speak from my perspective as well, like I think the memory that I will never forget hearing like how the lines flew because like for me writing is everything in a video game. So hearing Ruvik's lines in The Evil Within 1, that was
Ooh.
a moment I will never forget
Mm.
because that was the first time I really started getting more into psychological horror. And I thought, whoa, this game, the writing in it is just so good. And seeing his character evolve from like this creature basically to what we know is this, like a psychological essence in a sense. So I thought, whoa, this is really amazing.
Yeah. I love horror games. Like I'm very excited to play Alan Wake 2. Like that's like my most anticipated game this year. I'm so pumped for that. And it was important for me to this year during Summer Game Fest to check out the game, hands off preview event. So I got to check it out. It was like a 30-minute presentation, and then after that, I got to sit down with Kyle. He's also one of the higher ups. He working on the game. I think he's like the game director, and also Sam Lake, legendary, iconic developer. I had to talk to them because I'm excited about the game and yo, we went deep about the lore and everything. It was like an awesome conversation. Make sure for those who are watching this, make sure to listen to that episode on Gamer Tag Radio
Yeah.
because we went in
Oh
and that
yeah.
one we
Yeah.
really went in.
I mean, I'm just excited because that game comes out on my birthday, so I'm really looking forward to
Oh,
that.
that's your birthday,
So
October
yeah,
20th. Oh, awesome.
October 17th.
17.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm
yeah,
sorry, there's so many
yeah.
games coming out that time. Dates is all over the place.
Can
Yeah.
we just talk about that for a second? Because
Yeah.
October, we are going to be eating so well.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot, especially I think things are gonna start late August because usually when a game comes out, we get games like really early to start playing. So I think Starfield is gonna come out early for like creators, and then for like the public, in September. But I think that's when everything is gonna start. And look, my wife and I, we're expecting a baby. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Like,
Congratulations.
thank you. And I don't know how she's gonna do it too, because she's also a creator too. But she also works in like in marketing, but she loves creating content. And we were talking about this. I'm like, how the hell are we gonna do this? There's so many games coming out. How are we gonna keep up? Especially a game like Starfield. Like Starfield and Zelda, I don't see myself finishing those games. I really don't. I can see myself doing that with like Alan Wake and other games, but yeah, it's gonna be scary. Scary.
It's going to be really interesting because we have Spider-Man 2, which I'm really, really eager. I'm actually about to get into Miles Morales because I just finished the first Spider-Man game.
Ooh.
It's so
not,
good.
I hope you're ready, because I got emotional playing that game.
Oh,
Really
well,
emotional.
I better bring the tissues because I'm doing a playthrough for that on YouTube.
Yeah, it's good because
Yeah,
here's the thing. I moved from New York City here during the pandemic, and I was missing my family. And playing the Miles Morales game, that reminded me a lot of where I grew up in New York City. My mom lived in East Harlem, same area where is in the game, and I was just thinking about like my family, and there's a lot of messages about like family and everything in the game that it got me so emotional. Oh my god, I was like crying the whole time. I was like, oh, this is intense. And it's rare. It's rare for me to cry playing a game, so.
Oh, you see, I ball like a baby anytime I get like that. It all started with Ori, and I blame that game
Ori.
fully for bringing that emotion out because Ori and the Blind Forest and Will of the Wisps, everyone just needs to like have surgically like a box of tissues
Yes.
attached to them at all times.
Yeah, my wife actually worked on that game. She worked
Oh,
on
that's awesome.
both Ori games. 'Cause she used to work at Xbox, so she has like a lot of great memories on that. And yeah, like the beginning of Ori 1 reminds me of watching Bambi for the first time.
I didn't even think of that. Oh
Yeah,
my
it
gosh.
was like it was very sad. Like, I was like, oh my god, this is sad. So.
Oh my gosh. You see, that it was interesting because that was when I got an Xbox for the first time. It was in 2016. And that was for the Xbox One. Because when I graduated from college, I was like, I really want to go into content and I want to do everything. And I ended up graduating with a psych degree. So I was like, how am I going to use a psych degree with gaming and everything?
Yeah.
So I ended up asking my parents. I was just like, listen, I'm going to do this full time. I need to make this a thing, but I need to be able to like get equipment to do so. So I need your help picking something out. And we chose the Xbox One, and it came free. Ori and Gears of War Ultimate Edition came free with the console, and those were the first two Xbox games I ever played.
That's good. That's good, and I'm glad that that you're just experimenting and trying other stuff. Because when I was young, of course I'm like, nah, I'm all about Nintendo. Forget about this. Like I was like that, and then I started playing Sega for the first time. I'm like, oh my god, I'm missing out. And then same thing, playing PlayStation for the first time, and playing another, so I'm not saying that everybody got to buy every console, because come on, let's be real, not everybody could afford to buy everything, but it's good to see, people playing other games and just having a good time with games, man. Like this is, again, best time to be a gamer. Best time. So many options. Back then, it was rare when a game will come out. It was like once in a while. But now, like, there's new games every day from the indie side, from the AAA side, so. Yeah.
It is like I mean, people are shocked whenever I tell them I didn't play a PlayStation for the first time until like a couple of years ago. Like it was really fascinating to dive into that world, and the reason I had gotten the PlayStation, Bloodborne, primarily.
Bloodborne, that's a good game. Love that game. Yeah, tough too. Really tough.
It's I mean, all people in the Souls game, I Souls community, I say this with love, are masochists, okay?
Yeah.
Like we just enjoy it a little bit too much, but it's one of those games of where like if they ever make a second one, I feel like they're going to try to up the ante on the difficulty level, which I don't mind, but so
yeah, I'm excited to check out Lords of the Fallen. Looks
that's gonna be
looks
interesting.
similar. It looks very interesting. I can't wait to check it out.
Yeah. So when speaking of like different things, because that actually merged really well into the next topic that we're going into. When it comes to difficulty in gaming, are you more of like, I just want to be able to chill with the game, or do you like more of a challenge in your games?
Both. So it depends. If sometimes I'll play a game just normal, just play it, and I just master it. But sometimes a game could be really, really tough. I'm like, all right, let me put it on easy, and then let me get used to it, and then I'll go back and change the difficulty. So I'll give you a perfect example. So again, love Remedy games. So I was playing Quantum Break, was playing normal. I got to the last boss. I couldn't figure it out. I was like, I don't know how to beat this boss. Like I can't. So I restarted the game, start playing, and the difficulty I changed to easy. Finished it, went back, finished it normal, and then I went back, finished it hard.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I do that sometimes, and with every game, sometimes I just want to know more about the story. Don't care much about like the gameplay, but the story is really, really good. Or I want a challenge, and I'll make it a little bit difficult. It all depends on the vibe I'm in and the type of game too, for me.
So one thing I kind of want to ask, and I was asking this actually of Fighting Cowboy, who I interviewed last week, was when you think of like any collectible that you've obtained over the year, what is the one that has the fondest memories, or is kind of like your favorite collectible that you've had?
Ooh, oh man, I have a lot of, oh my God, let me see what I have here.
I see the green monster.
Yeah, so that's a fridge. I just got that like 2 weeks ago. From like Minecraft, the creeper and stuff. So
That's the one that Paris was talking about. He was like, I got a Minecraft fridge before, and I was like, how do they even? I was trying to think how that would even look like.
Yeah, it was to celebrate the release of Minecraft Legends and stuff. So
very nice.
So I have a console. You can't really see it. It's in the back where it was to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Xbox Live. And they sent me a rare console. I think they only made like maybe 100 or less or something like that. And Xbox sent me one because I've been part of the service since beta. So this is like 2002, before it came out publicly. So they sent me that, and I got it signed when I used to work at G4. Peter, because I'm really good friends with Peter Moore, so he was there, and I told him like, this is a very important console for me. Can you sign it? So he signed that. So I have that there. And also, I took my wife's Sega Dreamcast, and I told him that she's a huge fan of Sega Dreamcast. Is it possible for him to sign it? And he signed it for her and everything. So I was like, oh, that's cool. So that I have a lot of like rare stuff here. I just can't remember on top of the head, but yeah, I have like the original disc for the Xbox Live. This says beta. Like I have a whole bunch of cool stuff from back then. Yeah, so, but those are the ones that are like highlight and iconic for me from back then.
Yeah, it's always cool to be able to like see kind of not just the past, but see like the collection over the years and see how things have just grown in gaming. Like for me, this was actually a gift from someone a couple of years ago. Big Dark Souls fan, so they ended up gifting me the figure for Artorias.
That's sick.
Like,
that is really cool.
I was so incredibly happy because Artorias was one of those bosses of where like it's difficult, but it was manageable. And that was Smo and Ornstein and Artorias were like my clicking points of where like I think I actually like difficult games.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool.
So yeah, but and I know people always say like collectibles and physicals and all those kinds of things, they just take up room, but it's like that's basically what our brains are like that's what we're thinking of a lot of the time. If you work in the gaming industry for long enough, you just acquire so many different not only trinkets but memorabilia that are just so vastly important. I think.
I tell you this, I have behind me, I don't know if you can see it or not, but I've been collecting all my badges since my first event.
Nice.
Yeah, so my first event from like cool. 2001 to now, all badges from in the back. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's like around there, So sometimes I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, I totally forgot about this event. Oh man, okay, So yeah, I always collect those.
That's so exciting. And the thing is that whenever we look at moments in the gaming industry that are iconic, like the moment with Keanu Reeves collecting badges from things that we've been a part of, when you think of an event that you travel to, or you think of a place that you've gone for an event, what stands out to you the most is one of the best memories for you?
Oh, for me, I think traveling to Europe for the first time. So EA invited me to check out. This is, oh my god, I can't remember what year was this, but it was for Star Wars, the first Battlefront game. So everyone was like very excited because nobody had like no idea about like it was gonna have like story or what, you know. So they flew me to Stockholm, and there was only 20 of us from around the world. We were like the first group to actually see the game, and that was very iconic because I'd never been to Europe. So I was like so excited, and I got to meet a lot of other creators there, and that was really cool. And we got to play the game. We gave feedback to the dev team about Battlefront, and they made those changes for like the second game and everything too. So that was cool. Also, I almost got a job actually working in the gaming industry. So I almost got a job at this studio called Massive. That's under Ubisoft. They worked on The Division. They actually worked on the new Star Wars game that's coming out, and their new game Avatar that's coming out later this year. So I almost started working with her. Yeah, so they flew me out to do like a job interview there, and it was actually in Malmo, that's south of Sweden, close to Denmark, Copenhagen. So you will take a flight there, and you can take a train, and that was really cool. But I'm thankful that I didn't get the job, because I would have not moved here to LA. I would have not met my wife, and everything happens for a reason, and but it was cool. Hey, at least I went multiple times to Europe, for different reasons, you know what I'm saying? But I think those were really cool. Now, Paris and Pete, there was moments where they got invited, my co-hosts, they got invited to go to the UK. I was supposed to go there, but I couldn't because I had a 9 to 5 job, and ran out of vacation days for me to go. They went to Paris in France. They went there too for another game, and so that's really cool seeing that. Oh, I've been to Canada too because of they
Oh,
wanted me to
very
check out
nice.
a game, and I interviewed the developers. I worked on a couple of games there. Yeah, so it's good to see studios giving us the opportunity to just sit down and talk to the developers, because that's one thing that we're really good at, is having those conversations. And then, because I want the people to learn more about the developers, not just think about just the game and that's it. There's human beings that worked on those projects, and I think it is important to talk about like that side of the business, like how was it, the good things, the bad things, stuff like that. So
Exactly, because that's what a lot of people forget is that, especially like whenever, for example, when Cyberpunk came out and a lot of, I want to say discrimination was happening, a lot of bad things were being said about the developers. People, a lot of gamers, some gamers don't realize that there are people who work on those games, that they have feelings too. It's not just, an AI. It's not just something that you can say anything to,
mhm.
which I think it's very important for, people who are in this industry to share that spotlight and to understand that, like, there's so many hours are being put in, crunch time, overtime, everything is being put into these games.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that's one thing too about CD Project Red. Like we're really cool with them. They helped me out to surprise Paris multiple times when we were at E3, because that year Paris couldn't go to the whole E3. He only went like the last day just to check out Cyberpunk. And the first year, I surprised him. He comes out after the presentation, and I recorded that video. And first reactions, how was it? And excuse me, and he broke it down, like his reaction, and that video went viral the first time, right? So then the following year after that, same thing. He couldn't attend the whole E3, but he went to the last day, the presentation of Cyberpunk. So I started talking to CD Projekt Red, and I told him, look, Paris is gonna go in. I would like to surprise him, because they saw the video that went viral the year before, and I told him I would like to do something different. How about you get the whole team way outside of the door, and when Paris comes out, you start clapping and start cheering for Paris, right? And they were like, "Oh, we love this." So, but I don't know what happened. Paris took so long to come out from the room, Because
Oh no.
they were giving everybody like jackets and a couple of things. I don't know, it was just the line or they couldn't find a size. I don't know what happened. That everybody started coming out, and CD Projekt Red was like, you know what? Let's clap for everybody. They start clapping for everybody. So I recorded. I have a video that's long, like a long version that never released. It was just that until Para comes out, and he was like one of the last people. And yo, you see the CEO there, everybody clapping for Paris. That was like amazing,
Oh my
and that
gosh.
was just them like being cool, like yo, let's do it, you know. So they didn't even say no and everything like that. So it was
That's
really cool.
amazing.
Yeah, really cool to see that.
That is so cool. It's just like, yes, we love you.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's cool. 'Cause that's the thing about us. We love to do different things. We love to do different things, and I'm happy that a lot of the companies will give us access and opportunities to do that. So like one year, Ubisoft contacted me and asked, "Hey, Danny, come to PAX. We're gonna have the voice actors for Far Cry 5. We'd love for you to do an interview." And I said to them, "I don't want to do an interview. I want to do it a little bit different, and I hope they're okay to do it." And they were like, "What? What is it you want to do?" I told them, "I would like to create a podcast series, but it's like kind of like a radio drama, but it's for the podcast. But it's us going to the town of the game, and we're interviewing the characters from the game. And but the voice actors, we're gonna sit down with them. They have to act as that character." And they were like, "Yo, this is genius." And I told them it's only gonna be 5 minutes long. It doesn't have to be that long. And we did it. And we did 3 episodes, not knowing the script. There was things that we're not allowed to say, and we managed to put it off. And then at the fourth episode, this was like months later, we got to meet the villain, the father from the game, and we came up with this idea where he capture us and he interviews us. So then I released it like a month right before the release of the game. So every week I'll release this a podcast, and people went nuts. They're like, "Yo, this is like professionally made. This is awesome." Like, yeah, we did it with not knowing the script, nothing. Like we just freestyled the whole thing, and it came out amazing. People bought Far Cry 5 because of that audio, the audio series that we did. It was wild, but it was the
That's
opportunity the company
incredible.
gave us, you know. So it was awesome.
Yeah, that's incredible though. I mean, like the creativity, and that's what I think people want to see the most is not only like something that's new and there's a creative spirit behind it, but if people can tell that you're loving what you're doing, then they're gonna love it too.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I think it is important for creators to just have fun creating content. And here's the thing: nobody's gonna be you. You're always gonna be yourself, like unique, right? And it's better to work on things that make sense for you, like content wise. That it's like, okay, this is all you. It's not like you're copying other people, things like that. Because imagine having content that everybody's the same conversation, same thing. I feel as a consumer or somebody that's consuming that type of media, that type of content, I'm gonna find that extremely bored. So it's good to see different type of content from everybody. So that's why we always like to do something different from our side.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you bring up Far Cry because the first Far Cry game I ever played was 6, and that was absolutely incredible.
6, the one in it looks like it was Cuba, right? That
Yeah,
one, yeah. So
yeah.
I interviewed Giancarlo Esposito for that game. When was that? Right before the release of the game. So I remember waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning because we started doing press like at 6 a.m. East Coast time. And Ubisoft was said to me, "Hey, are you okay to wake up at 3?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm all in." So I slept for a little bit, woke up early, recorded the interview. So I'm starting doing the interview, and we were having a great conversation. Then my internet goes away, went poof in the middle of the interview. I'm like, "No!" It took me like maybe 4 to 5 minutes to go back, and they were waiting for me. And I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. It was just my internet went out. I don't know what I don't know what happened." But it was a great conversation. We talked a lot about the game and about a little bit about Star Wars. He was in Mandalorian and everything, so that was cool.
Yeah. That was a really unique experience of a game, I have to say. Like I went in with such a biased feeling, like, okay, this is, going to be a shooter game. I'm expecting minimal story, but oh my gosh, the way that the story is just incredibly intense in that game, I did
Yeah,
not expect it.
very intense, very intense. Yeah, no, it was good. I really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. So to close off the podcast, I want to ask a few fun questions that I think are
Sure.
going to be pretty interesting to see. When you think of a game that is something that you found for your collection that you're like, okay, I have to have this. I don't care what the price is right now. I just got to have it. What is it?
Ooh, that's a good one. Man, that's a lot. It's a lot. I think anything with like Sega Dreamcast related, Jet Set Radio. I love Jet Set Radio. I still have the disc. I still have the disc for like Fantasy Star Online. Um, that one is really cool. And also Halo 2 for the Xbox. Yeah, because I have the collector's edition, so it was like a metal case collectors there, and when you open it, it was really really nice booklet and everything. So there's a game, and also there was like a DVD in there. I can't quite remember, where it's like behind the scenes video of like the team at Bungie working on Halo 2. So those are like one of my favorites in my opinion for me.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, for me, it would have to be when I got my hands on Silent Hill Downpour because they didn't have a electronic version of it anymore in the Xbox stores. It was for another region, and I managed to get it on Amazon, and it was the last copy.
Nice.
So I was like, oh my
Nice.
god, this is amazing.
That's really cool.
And I think that it's really important to like have people understand who are going to be watching this that there's a difference between someone who collects and then someone who collects who's like on the hunt vehemently for something, because like you can have someone who like can collect like little things here and there, but I mean, I don't know about you, but for me personally, it's like I collect the art books, I collect the games, I collect like the statues and everything like that. So it's always so important for me to like treasure the physical copies of these. And that's the last topic I want to leave it off on. What are your opinions on the debate with digital versus physical?
I used to collect a lot of games. Like there's a picture that I found that like I had like maybe like 100 to 200 games that I collected. And at that time it was easy for me to do it, but I ran out of space. Like there's no way for me to put these physical games and stuff. So I've been buying stuff or getting games just digitally. I don't mind. It doesn't bother me. Like it reminds me a lot of like growing up. I was all about tapes and records and then CDs, and then digital comes out. I'm like, I don't know, it's not the same. And then I'm getting the iPod for the first time. Like, oh my god, look how many songs I could fit in one iPod, like one device. So I think for overall, a lot of people don't like change, and it's easier for us to just download games now digitally everywhere. I do miss going to like a store and lining up and being there like at midnight and I get to meet like other gamers from locally, from the community and stuff. And that's how I managed to get the word out about my podcast. When I first started, I will go to like all these stores and pass out flyers and stuff like that. So that part I miss. The scary part and the stuff that I don't agree is when companies start deleting these games, and it's really really hard to find these online. That's the part I don't agree. I think it's very important for companies to still have it out there because it's part of history still. You get what I'm saying? So there's games that I can't remember the names that came out during the Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo era. Like I think it was like the Wii era, that doesn't even exist online. Like we can't find them anywhere. So yeah, there's a lot of the good parts of it, but also the bad side too.
There is. I mean, like cough, cough, PT Silent Hills, cough.
Yeah, yeah. There's plenty of games. Plenty. Look, like right now, they say Jet Set Radio Future. Love that game. Love that game. I wish there was like a way for people to play that on the current gen. You can't play it because Sega's having issues because of the licensing and everything to get that game available for like now. If people want to like buy the old physical game and play it, you can't do it unless you play it on like your old console. That's about it. But
That's the same thing that I experienced with Silent Hill 1. I emulated it on the PC, and the same thing goes for the original God of War games. Unless you know how to emulate it or you have like the old school PlayStation, you can't really play those anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
But Danny, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. Thank you so much for your time, the topics, the tangents, everything.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun, and keep doing your thing. I'm very happy to see that the most important thing, you're having fun creating content. Because a lot of people would do this for a very long time and they don't see results, and they're like, I'd say I'm gonna stop. And it takes a while. It takes a while to people to find you, to learn more about you and your content. It takes a while, so keep on doing your thing.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I hope you have a wonderful day. And if you guys like our faces and what we do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below. His links, my links, all the links are going to be down there. Stay casually nerdy, you guys. May you find your worth in the waking world. And I will see you all in the next video. Umbasa.